All right, I think we might be live now, potentially. Yes, maybe. All right, perfect. All right. Good morning, everyone. Let me just double confirm here that we are actually live on the proper YouTube channel. Yes, we are. We're gonna let Judy in. So we got our coffee here. Good morning, Judy. How you doing? What's this tab here?
I'm I'm good. I'm doing well. It took me 6 minutes to figure out where to get this link, but I found it.
No worries. Yeah, it's just my personal Zoom link, but it's a new thing, so giving it a shot on
Yeah.
YouTube. So we're
So
already
I
live now.
what's that?
We're already live on YouTube now. So good
Oh,
morning.
good morning. I don't have my coffee. I had it already and have done my Tai Chi and I need to do my workout, but I thought I'll just stop by and see how Maxim's trip was.
Oh, nice. I'm gonna text my mom actually because she was on earlier and I was like, gosh, it's gonna be just me and my mom talking. I was like, just come back later when there's more people. Um, Very supportive mom. Yeah, the trip was awesome. Like it was my first time on the vegan cruise, and I didn't know how I would fare with the rocking of the boat because I've never been on this big of a boat. So we bought some medicine just to make sure I was fine.
Right,
But
right.
yeah, ending up not needing it. It was really nice to not have to do any dishes, any cooking, and to just have
Right.
like a buffet of vegan food where I didn't have to worry about like being able to eat something decent.
Hmm.
And then yeah, like Robert Cheek was there, Cyrus was there, so got to connect with a lot of cool people. There was a few members there, so I hopefully
Cool.
they'll have us back next year. We didn't make people suffer too much during the group classes.
Where did you go?
I think it left out of Miami. The first stop was Jamaica, and then I believe it was, I think Grand Cayman, and then Mexico, and then Bahamas, and then it came back to
Did
Miami
did you
after.
get off of the boat at all, or was this just a on ship
No,
cruise?
no. We got off of the
Oh,
boat.
okay.
So yeah, we got I think maybe like 6 or 8 hours at each location.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, so it was nice. We got to walk around and explore or go in
Yeah.
the ocean,
What
see
was
the
the
dolphins.
company?
It's Holistic Holiday at Sea.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I get those emails, but I've always wondered. I've never
Yeah,
signed up for any of them, but
yeah, they use the MSC ship. And so to be fair, I thought it was a full vegan cruise, but they have a portion of the cruise.
yeah.
So they maybe had about like 40 to 50% of the cruise was for us, basically.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
in
That's a
terms of
lot, really.
yeah, it was about 1,600 people that were vegan in
Wow.
one spot. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be. Huh.
Yeah,
Well,
but
that sounds relaxing. I've been on one
somewhat.
short little cruise. Well, relaxing sorta. If you're working out all the time.
Yeah, we were teaching and speaking,
Yeah.
so yeah, it was busy.
Yeah. But we did a little short cruise. My sister won. She won a trip to Super Bowl something. I can't remember what in 1995, and she invited my husband and I, and so we just flew to L.A. and got on the ship. And the Super Bowl was in San Diego, but in order for the ship had to go out of country. So during
Right.
the night, it went to Mexico and turned around and came back and docked at San Diego. And then we went to, we got to hang out in San Diego and went to the Super Bowl. And um, it was pretty cool. But I wore patches because my patch wore. We took two patches for the motion sickness,
Yeah.
and my husband didn't put his on, and mine wore out, and I'm glad he didn't use his because I needed it.
Yeah.
I don't do well with emotion.
Yeah. I just I was nervous getting on the boat because like what's a predetermining factor of if you're gonna be sick or not? And I guess you don't know until you actually like
Yeah,
get on the boat.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's awesome. Yeah, I think Ivy was like she's done a few cruises before, and I really like the model because then you get to visit a bunch of different places without
Hmm.
the logistical nightmare of being
Hmm.
like, okay, we gotta grab a flight here, we gotta grab a hotel, we gotta rent a car here or grab an Uber. So Ivy is looking at some cruises in Greece, I think,
Oh,
and there's
that'd be
like
nice.
a 9 day one. So we might do that for our next digital detox.
The vegan one or
No, no, it's just a regular
just a
cruise,
regular?
but they have a lot of vegan options and a bunch of good vegan restaurants
Oh, okay.
for the one that she found. And it'll be different, obviously, because we were there as like speakers and teachers. So a lot of people, came and say hi to us. So we didn't have a lot of downtime during
Sure.
the seven
Sure.
days. So we'll
Yeah.
use it as an actual little vacation.
That'd be, the National Health Association has taken a ton of trips now,
Yeah.
but they're really expensive. They're really
Yeah.
expensive. But I would like to do that as well because they're vegan and there's I think fairly small group
Yeah.
and they go to some really great places. But it's my husband is not vegan, um, but I think it's like the one you were on where you have the option of eating the other food.
Yeah.
So I think their cruises do too, unless they have some all vegan ones. I'm not sure, but anyway,
Yeah.
it's cheaper if I just go by myself. He doesn't really want to travel, so
Just leave him at home. Just go on the cruise.
yeah, right.
Yeah, and NHA has some good trips. We're actually going to be at the NHA conference
Oh,
in
are you? So am
yeah,
I.
we're yeah, in June. So we'll see you there then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
Ivy
going
and
in
I will
June.
yeah, Ivy and I will have a booth there. It'll be our second year sponsoring it.
Okay.
Um and what's the company? I think it's called Vegan Travel something. You heard of that company? It's like all they do is vegan travel and they go to like Asia and you can hike Kilimanjaro with them.
Is it two
Uh,
guys?
I know it's a husband and a wife. Vegan
Okay.
travel agency.
There's one that I just found that had two guys, and I think they did. Oh, no, that was pickleball. Never mind. That wasn't vegan. That was pickleball. Sorry.
World Vegan Travel. That's what it
World
is.
Vegan Travel.
I interviewed the owner on the show,
Okay.
because like maybe 2 years ago, Ivy and I were like, we'd like to do Kilimanjaro and hike it,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't want to be stuck eating very little food because there's not a lot of vegan options going up. So I looked for a vegan
Right.
one, and they do have one. So I think one day we'll take it. Now that I'm allowed to leave the country, well, I think we're just trying to plan some of these trips. But yes,
Yeah.
I'm not hiking Kilimanjaro on having a hard time finding vegan food, like, and I'm not going to eat
Right.
animal products. So I would starve hiking the mountain basically.
So why couldn't you leave the country?
Just because when you get married, you have to apply for a temporary green card, basically. So you have to go through this whole process of be like, we're actually married because we love each other. We've actually been in a relationship for a long time before we got married. And then there's a whole like paperwork you have to file, and it's just them processing the paperwork that takes like 8 to 9 months because I guess there's a lot of applicants.
Okay.
And while that's pending, you're not allowed to leave the country. So
Okay.
I applied and we filed everything in August last year. So I'm kind of in the pending process,
Okay.
but my lawyer filled out a form in August and I just got it before I left on the cruise. And it gives me permission to travel in and out of the country for the next 5 years while I'm pending for an answer. So,
Are you from Canada?
yeah, I'm from Canada originally.
And is that where you're living now?
No, I live in Los Angeles.
Oh, okay. That's what was throwing me. I thought you were in Canada, and I'm like, why won't they let you leave the country?
Yeah, yeah,
You're in Los Angeles. I didn't know that. Okay.
yeah, yeah. So been here for it's gonna be 2 years in April that I've
Oh,
been that
okay.
I've been that I've been stuck here basically.
Yeah, stuck in LA. Yeah.
But not a bad place, but hey, fires, floods, like
Yeah.
earthquakes. We came back, like all this shelf that I have behind me, there's all these my medals and everything. They're just
Uh-huh.
standing there. We came back from the cruise and like all this was on the ground. Like all my shit was on the ground. And I was like, what happened while we were gone? All of our kitchen cabinet, our doors were all open as well. And we had some workers come in and paint some walls. And I was like, did
Uh-huh.
they just freaking search through all my cabinets and throw my shit on the ground? And then we Googled it and there was like a big earthquake.
There was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay, that's why like, all of our cabinets were open. Because I was gonna text the head department for the apartment and be like, yo, what are you guys doing here? They're just searching my whole house.
Did anything get broken?
No, no, even the
Oh, that's
picture
good.
frames were pretty good, but it was
Oh,
just like
good.
having to reset up everything. And then I think the first night that we're back at like 10 at night, another earthquake, and I hear all the metals and everything falling again. I was like, damn.
Jeez.
Yeah, we don't have that. I'm from Quebec, Canada originally. Like
Yeah,
we deal with cold weather and that's pretty much it.
come to Illinois. Well, we have tornadoes. We had so it was 70 degrees a couple of days ago, and today
Mm.
and this morning I woke up to 3 inches of snow. So
Oh wow.
yeah, yeah.
It's like
So
Colorado a little bit. Because Robert was telling me that like you'll have like super warm weather, then bam, there's snow a
yeah,
few days after.
yeah. It's supposed to get up to 44 today, so it's gonna melt, but it's just, I don't know. I'm over snow. I wish I lived down south.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't
hey,
like I don't like winter anymore. I think that's one of my problems with, I was gaining the weight and, just sitting at home not doing, so now that it's gotten nicer out, I'm walking more and
yeah.
eventually we'll be out working in the yard and stuff. So
Yeah. Well, if you want to, we can talk about, your transformation or if you have any questions, because typically when I do the lives, people come up with like fitness or nutrition questions. So yeah, just obviously for enough for the people that are potentially watching or listening after you
well,
want to
I've
start
been
one.
on a lot of the calls and people are probably getting tired of hearing me going, oh, I just can't get this. I'm doing fine physically. The
Yeah.
physical part, I'm not, it's, it's not, it's so, I mean, I'm not saying it's not easy, but it's not that hard.
Yeah.
Um,
It's meant to
but
be right there, right? Like hard enough to get some progress, but not too hard where it's impossible.
right, yeah, and because I mean, it's not like I'm not breathing hard, especially like the touch shoulder planks, and
Yeah.
that gets me, and I always struggle with lunges because of balance, so I have to really work hard on those.
Yeah.
But no, it's the food, following the plan, and Cassidy's been working with me, but I'm struggling with going from hearing for 6 years not to worry about protein
Yeah.
and don't use protein powder. It's not good for you. To now you've got to get more protein in and not eat so much food. And so I'm really mentally struggling with that. So I fight it.
Like a
I bought some
re-education.
protein powder and it was so sweet. I couldn't stand it. It had monk fruit, the one you guys recommended, but I haven't had any sugar or
The
sweetener for
Nutrigasm?
6 years. I'm sorry.
The Nutrigasm one?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
find
It's just,
Nutrigasm sweet?
oh, yeah.
Did you get the chocolate or the strawberry one?
Maybe it wasn't Nutrigasm. What's the other one? Veg.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Nutrigasm is like not sweet. That's why I was like shocked. Yeah, veg is sweet. It's sweeter, but
Yeah.
Nutrigasm is like it tastes healthy, is the way that I like to put it.
Really? Well, I
Yeah.
didn't get that one. I got the veg. And so now
Yeah.
I'm going to let my husband eat it because he likes it.
Yeah.
And then so I started Googling, where can I get something without all those additives?
Yeah.
So I found Naked, I believe it is Naked
Uh
Protein or something.
yeah, I think that's like a pea protein blend now.
Yes. So I bought the pea protein. And then after I bought it, and of course, I'm so cheap, I don't want to pay shipping. So I have these two 5-gallon things of protein powder that I'm like, why do I do that? I have all this protein powder and I don't even want to use it. And so
Yeah.
I'm on the website and it's going, well, there's rice protein and it's not quite as strong. So I ordered the rice protein. So now I have 15 pounds
Okay.
of
You need
protein
to stop
powder.
buying protein powder, Judy.
And they taste like bleh. They're terrible.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to use them, even though when I Google pea protein or don't eat too much, I find the negative side of protein powders and too much and what's too much. So
Yeah.
I did put some,
We
well,
talked about that on the cruise,
I
actually.
think it's 3 tablespoon is a serving. And so in my cereal or my oatmeal this morning, and I'm still tasting it. um, I only put 1 tablespoon, and then I put a tablespoon of Fit PB Fit
Yep.
Pure that doesn't have any. It's just peanuts, no sugar.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, that's a little protein. That's okay. So, and then when I make my green shake, which isn't on my plan, but I have this um, J John Pierre JP that works
Yeah.
with Chef AJ and on
Yeah.
her weight loss thing. He recommended this. Um, I forget Health Force Health Force greens. So I've been using those. So I thought, oh, I'm going to use it, but I don't make it as a smoothie. I don't
Yeah.
put fruit, and I just use the greens.
Yeah.
And I did put another tablespoon. I haven't yet because I haven't had it today. Another tablespoon of the either rice or pea protein in it. So
Yeah.
I'm trying, but I'm not probably getting. I mean, I'm eating tofu. I'm eating edamame.
Yeah.
I am getting more protein because my stools will tell you that, and
Yeah.
and my gas.
Yeah.
I didn't have that problem before. But so anyway, I'm trying, but I still fight it. I don't want my heart or my brain or anything to have too much protein.
Yeah. So let's talk about that because we
Okay.
talked about that while we were on the cruise, and we had some like Gregor was there, Clapper was there, Barnard was there, like the whole crew was there.
Oh, I
And we
should
did
have
an
gone on that cruise.
yeah, and we had we did the athlete panel as well. So you know, Cyrus has his PhD was on there as well with myself and Ivy and a few other speakers. Um, so the consensus for the protein was if you're someone that is, you know, if you're getting older, if you're someone that's active, that's looking to improve their body composition, we just kind of narrowed it down to like a gram per pound thing. So we didn't have to figure out the whole kg thing, but 0.8 gram per pound of body weight, which you're going to be around that with Coach Cass and what she's given you for your protein goal. Um,
Well,
and
my protein's 93. Great. I think that's high.
well, how much do you weigh right now?
125.
It's 100. So you're
Is
pretty
it?
much spot. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Like
okay.
you're pretty much spot on. So,
All right.
okay, so the Dr. Greger is the only one that's saying this. There's no other doctor that's like, don't eat too much protein, right? In
Okay.
terms of like, so Dr. Greger, when he says you need to eat low protein for longevity,
Right.
he didn't say what kind of protein. He's talking about animal-based protein. So if you eat low of that, because he's not talking to the whole food plant-based people, he's not talking to the vegan people, he's talking to the average American that wants to
Okay.
extend their lifespan, like the average person, which we're not. We're very unique because we're already aware and we're already monitoring how we're eating. Those people eat low amounts of protein to extend the lifespan and just animal protein. He's not saying eat low amounts of plant-based protein,
Okay.
right? So that's the difference. So if you look at, I think it was Dr. Esselstyn or
Mm-hmm.
Campbell or one of the two, um, they're for protein powder. Like Robert had a whole conversation with them about it, where they
They
also
are?
use.
I didn't think
Yeah,
they
it's
were.
it's it's Esselstyn or Campbell. It's one of the two others, but to me, they're on the same level
Well,
of
Rip,
like,
I didn't know that Rip used protein powder. I mean, he's an Esselstyn, but maybe he
yeah, yeah.
does.
It's
I
maybe Campbell. It's maybe Campbell or Esselstyn. I would have to ask Robert, but he spoke about it on stage as well. Was it Campbell? Yeah, it was Esselstyn or Campbell. But to me, they're both like godfathers of this movement. So like,
right.
if one
Right.
of them is pro for it and they've changed their mind about it, then it's fine for the rest of the people. But it's because it's plant-based protein. Like you can consume more plant-based protein and be absolutely fine. Consuming 0.8 gram per pound of body weight is not too much protein. Like if you go the bodybuilding route of like 1.5 grams per pound
Right.
of body weight, 2 grams per pound
Right.
of body weight, then oh, for sure, that's way too much, right? That's way too much protein. But at 0.8 gram per pound, you're well within
I
a
should stop
reasonable amount.
stressing. I
Oh,
should stop
100%.
stressing about it.
Because more protein powder, especially as you're getting older and you're strength training now to improve your body composition. Damn, it's gonna
Oh,
make
but
you
look at this.
look at these guns.
I have those without doing the work.
Yeah, but imagine now with the higher protein and the strength training, it's
Yeah.
going to be, yeah, it's much different. So you have more satiety, more hormone balancing, you build more lean muscle tissue, your body metabolizes fat a lot easier, so you lose fat, faster. Like it just having that amount of protein being around that range has so many health benefits. So yeah, you're if you were going to tell me, Judy, that you're going to eat freaking 200 grams of protein per day, I'd be like, all right,
Yeah.
you're going overboard now. But 90 to 100, you're more than fine. I just wish that maybe one day I'll have him. We're trying to have those people on the podcast again because I had Dr. Greger on the podcast before, but my brand wasn't big enough for me to kind of challenge him on that stuff back then. So I was just trying to be polite.
Right. Right.
But there's a lot more studies backing it up. And Friday, so tomorrow, because you're a member, you have the Fit Vegan Inner Circle for free as a part of
Yes,
being in the
it's at
program.
3 o'clock our time, I think. I have it on my calendar.
Yeah, with Dr. Matthew Nagra.
Yeah.
He's going to debunk all of that. And he actually has all the studies to back it up
Okay.
as well. So he can show you all the studies. But yeah, you don't have to
Well,
worry.
Dr. Marbus told me the same thing last night. I mean, everybody's telling me it, but you've told me the doctors that I've already followed for 6 years are saying it's okay too. So not that I don't trust you, but I mean, I've
Yeah,
been following them.
of
And
course.
and
That's why I'm
Dr.
like,
Goldhammer, I'm sure Dr. Goldhammer doesn't think it's okay, but he's he's
he's
really,
he's
I
not a
mean,
body recomposition guy.
no.
He's a healing once you're sick guy.
Yes.
Which for sure, like if you're, how can I say that? Like if you're sick and you're trying to heal and recover from something, your focus should not be body recomposition. Your focus should be having all your energy towards healing the body versus trying to build muscle,
Yeah.
right? Because building muscle requires a lot of energy in terms of like output with your exercise and intake of food. And you shouldn't trying to get super like build more muscle if you're sick. Your priority should be resting and recovering. That's why when you go to True North, like you're doing nothing, right? You're
Oh, I
not
know
you're
exactly.
not
I've wanted to
exercising.
go to get rid
Yeah.
of this gut, but I knew that when I came home, it'd probably come back.
Well, so I think like I'm not gonna. I think there's some value to the work that he's doing if
Oh, I
you're
do
sick
too.
and all of these things. It's
Yeah.
just you're not learning food habits. Like,
Right.
yeah, shit, go stop eating for 30 days. Anyone will lose weight. But once you come back, have you learned how to make the right decisions for your food? Have you learned how to structure a meal properly? Not really. And fair to him because he's not going to put you in a bunch of food in front of a bunch of food and teach you how to properly do your
Right.
portions when you're not supposed to eat. You're going to want to eat food because you're hungry. So
Right.
like I get it, but there's an education about food, about learning how to navigate life happening, stressful days when cravings kick in. What do you do? Can you develop little tricks for yourself? Can you just use that muscle of willpower to not eat? Like you have to go through these different moments to learn, which you don't get if you just don't eat food because eventually you'll have to eat, you know?
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, so far I haven't really overcome my eating issues. I still fight it. It's taken willpower. Um,
Yeah.
um, Cass says to up my protein, so I'm trying.
It'll help with
But like
craving and
last night, I
satiety.
didn't. Last night I was like, I can eat my bean soup, or I would listen to. You've interviewed. I can't think of her name. Just recently, she's lost 32 pounds,
Amy.
and okay, yeah, Amy. And she talked about when she goes on vacation, because that's what I'm a little worried about. I'm going to start traveling soon to my
Yeah.
daughter's. And I knew what to do. The last 6 years, I took 3 coolers and I mean all my food because I ate so much. I don't see how I'm going to do my recipes, my follow the food plan. And she was saying she just eats Japanese sweet potato and broccoli and some tofu. And I was like, yes, that's
Yeah.
me. That's what I like. And I love Japanese sweet potatoes. I can only cook one at a time because I still struggle with overeating. If I were to cook 10 Japanese sweet potatoes to last me, a week, I would eat them all in one day.
Yeah.
So my electric bill goes up because I only can cook one at a time. So I have no willpower when it comes to sweet potatoes, any kind.
Here's a trick. So because protein is so filling and satiating, and because when you're consuming plant-based protein, it comes with fiber and other macronutrients, eat your protein first. So if you sit down to have that specific meal, eat the tofu first, eat the broccoli first, and keep the best for last. Eat the sweet potato last. You're going to be a lot fuller. Like you think you don't, but truthfully, trying to eating the tofu first and then the veggies after, and then your sweet potato last, you're going to be so satiated just from the protein and the fiber that came from it that you'll naturally not want to eat more sweet potatoes versus starting with the sweet potato and then just eating that, then you'll be like, well, let me eat more of this before I eat the broccoli and the tofu. Then yeah, shit, you'll probably eat 4 sweet potatoes,
Yeah.
right? But start with the protein and then the
I
veggies, and then keep
I
that
can
last.
try that. I will try that. But I honestly never feel full. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm getting that. I'm not hungry now. I ate breakfast early. I never eat breakfast early, but I'm doing it on this program because
yeah,
I ended up coming home from pickleball or doing my training. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. I eat breakfast and then it's time for lunch. And there's
yeah,
no time for a snack. But hey, I get a snack. So
yeah.
I am eating my breakfast early now, and it hasn't affected. It doesn't, because it's not an overabundance like I'm used to.
Yeah.
I'm fine with doing the workouts
Yeah. Yeah.
afterwards. But yeah, I mean, I cook the sweet potatoes in the middle of the afternoon and they're gone by dinner. So
Yeah.
I mean, I'll just keep eating. So I'm working on that, and I'm hoping this is going to eventually kick in and help me with that. But
Well, here's an analogy for you, and just for us, for everyone else too. So we'll use money as an analogy because fat loss and money are kind of really similar. So if you have, let's just say, 40 pounds that you want to lose, let's just say that that's you being $40,000 in debt. So if you're $40,000 in debt and your goal is to pay it off, get rid of it, get rid of the fat, get rid of the debt, then that means that you have to go on a budget in order to be able to set money aside to pay off that debt. It's not fun, right? Like everyone would much rather continue spending and just ignore the $40,000 in debt that's there. But if you're actively trying to pay it off and get rid of it, then you're going to put yourself on a budget. You're going to monitor your food. Maybe you'll spend a little bit less on activities and trips and things like that that you want to do so that you can get rid of this debt. When you're trying to lose 40 pounds, a little bit of the same thing. You put yourself on a budget so that you can pay off that debt over time and lose that weight until you have no more debt, no more weight. The process of budgeting sucks financially and from a fat loss perspective, right? We'd rather just spend and be like, everything is going to work out. At the end of the month, it's all going to be even. I don't have to worry about it. But that's not the case because money and food are both very emotional things. So they're really hard to kind of to put restrictions on or structure on, right? Or limits on how much you can. So it does require a certain element of like, dang, I wish I could spend more. I wish I could eat more, but I shouldn't because I'm actively trying to pay off this thing. All right.
yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah,
for sure, like there's going to be moments where it sucks. I've been in a deficit for the past 3 months and exercising more. And like, hey, there's moments where we're on the cruise and I was like, oh, there's a whole buffet of everything. I don't have to
yeah.
cook any. I can just eat whatever I want.
I don't know how
I
you did that.
I got leaner. I mean, I got leaner on the cruise because again, it's that aspect of I'm trying to pay off this debt because I have this goal that I'm working towards. And so, like, yeah, I could decide to overspend for this whole week. But guess what? I got to budget even more when I come back to catch up for this overspending. And so I was like, I'd rather just stay on track. That way I don't have to pay back anything when I come back, you know? So it's a decision. It's a game. It's not always going to be perfect. Sometimes you'll just be like, screw it. I don't want to budget today. And you'll just go for it. But eventually, like somewhere, somehow in the future, that will have to be paid off. Right. And so it's the balance of you can't restrict yourself too much with your food because that's like saying I'm going to put my whole monthly budget, all my revenue for the month towards my debt. But now you can't pay your mortgage, you can't pay your bills, you can't put gas in your car. Why? You can't do that. So you can only put a certain amount aside for it. And it's the same
Hmm.
thing with nutrition. We can't just cut all your food to pay off the debt faster
Right.
because you're going to run out of energy to do other things, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, I'm
it's
actually
a
on a
it's a
1600
process.
calorie. I think that's a lot, really. It seems like,
It is
I
a
mean, I
lot,
don't know what
but
I should be eating. I have no idea. I just know I'm
yeah.
on 1600. One of the gals that was on the talk is about my height and she was on 1200. And I'm like,
Yeah, she's at the end though. She's like
no,
slowly decreasing.
she was just the same time. She had been on as long as me.
Is she reverse dieting first? Again, it depends. It depends on
No,
like
I
people where
just am
they're at.
assuming she's not as active as I am.
There's that, or maybe she was under eating when she came, and we had to start her lower, and we are
Oh,
building her back up potentially.
yeah,
Because to be fair, some people will come in the program. They're like, "Hey, I'm exercising an hour and a half every day, 7 days a week, and I'm eating 900 calories." I'm like,
yeah,
we can't go lower. We can't make you do more exercise, so we need to reverse and go back up first, right?
yeah.
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 So
And I don't know. I just thought 1600, I was pretty happy with that. And the other thing that Amy said that you interviewed was that her coach, I think it was Nick, told
yeah,
her don't count your vegetables.
yeah, non-starchy veggies. Yeah.
Right, the non-starchies. So I do add some, some of my meals I'll put the greens or lettuce, underneath and I'll make a salad.
That's
And
perfect.
I eat carrots when I feel like I want to crunch something.
Yeah.
Um
Cucumbers
so
are a good snack too.
what's that?
Cucumbers, some salt and pepper, some nutritional yeast on top of it. Oh, so good.
Yeah, cucumbers aren't my favorite, and I don't eat salt. So that's another issue I've had. I can't like the tamari. I've had to really
Yeah,
cut
yeah,
back on that because I don't do salt or fats, and it's going to be interesting because I've looked at the templates to see
yeah.
what meals and stuff, and there's it. Well, I said something to doctor last night about I'm so used to no salt
To
all this
Lori?
time or oil. What's that?
Was it to Dr. Lori on the group call yesterday?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I just one
Yeah.
of my questions, and she said, "Well," and I said, should I be worrying about the salt and all?" And of course, we can't have a conversation. It was just a text question,
Yeah.
and she said it depends upon if you're doing it for health, for like heart or something. Well, I'm not. I've just followed Chef AJ and Dr. Goldhammer, and it's no salt, oil, sugar, flour, alcohol,
Yeah.
and that's what I've done. So, and when I do have salt, though, because I have no inflammation,
Yeah.
but I'll get my hands will swell and my tongue. I can't stand it, too much salt on my palate. But
There's more water retention that comes from it. And again, it's very
why
I
it
like
makes my ears ring more. It
yeah.
makes
So
my
again,
tinnitus louder, and I feel like I get swollen, but maybe not. Maybe
yeah.
that's in my
So
head.
I'll put it this way. I respect the work that they do. It just depends. It's up to the individual. Like if you're someone that's exercising pretty actively and you're sweating a lot, and you're not eating processed foods, like if you're eating processed foods and don't get salt. There's already salt in all the crap that people are eating. But if you're
Right.
eating whole food, plant based, you're eating fairly clean, and you're someone that's like sweating a lot and exercising, there is benefits to having more sodium in some of your food because you're literally getting none because you're
Right.
eating whole food, plant based, there's no packaged foods. If you're sweating a lot, that's another component to account for. And then if you do sweat a lot, you can look at something called like your sweat rate. There's tests that you can do to see how much sodium you lose when you sweat. So for me, for myself, I appreciate the no salt movement. I get pounding headaches and dizziness because I train so hard, I sweat so hard. I have a high sweat rate. So I lose a like if I sweat, I am crispy. I can do this and fill up a container of salt. That's how
Really.
salty I am. Yeah.
I
And I
don't
get
work that hard.
yeah, so but again, that's the difference, right? Because we have people that are a little bit more like training harder, like training potentially for like a 5K or 10K or something. Like sodium has like such a great benefit when it comes to muscle contraction. And if you're
Right.
training harder and you're sweating a lot, there's benefits to it because I have to like after a hard basketball, I gotta put salt in my hand and lick it
Yeah.
just to
No,
kind
I
of get
get that. I
myself
mean,
to yeah,
I have a physical education background. I mean, I get the thing with salt if you're exercising and sweating a lot. Now, in the summer, I'm apt to sweat more than I do right now. I don't
yeah,
sweat much at all.
yeah.
Um, um, because
It's
I
cold
mean,
outside. It's freezing right
it's
now.
cold I'm down in my basement now, and it's cold down here. My hands are cold. So when I'm
Yeah,
doing my workout, I get warm by the end of it, but I'm not hot.
yeah, yeah,
So right now I'm not. Now this summer when I'm biking, I might, and I'll have to think about it. I was talking to a guy at pickleball yesterday, and he said he makes his own electrolytes with vinegar, salt, and baking soda,
yeah.
and makes his own and doesn't
Baking
buy,
soda is there's a lot of studies on that when it comes to alkalinity in the body and increasing performance. Actually, like, quite a little bit of a performance enhancer.
Is it? I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
know. I mean, he's 62 and overweight, but plays a better pickleball than I do. And he actually thought I was his age. I
yeah,
said, no, I'm 72,
yeah.
almost. But he said that's what he does because one of his college roommates apparently came up with it when he was in chemistry in college, and he came up with this electrolyte thing for everyone. And so that's what he does cheaply, makes his own. So I thought,
Nice.
well, I could try that, but he didn't give me the proportions, and I don't want to I don't need to now because I
Yeah,
don't sweat. He's
yeah,
soaking wet. I mean, he's wringing wet, and I haven't broken a sweat. So
yeah. And that's the thing is to put it across the board to be salt free for everyone. I think is a little bit rough. So I would say like for people to play it up to how active they are being. But definitely, if you're sweating a lot, consider adding a little bit. And if
yeah,
you're trying to perform at something, you'll see a performance boost from it because it does help with the muscle contraction. It does help to kind of keep everything hydrated as well because there's water retention that comes from it. But
okay,
as long as it's not coming from eating, chips
Right.
and
Right.
burgers and fries and things like that. And
Right.
um, I was thinking about that. I think this morning I woke up with this thought. It was very, very weird that I was one of my first thought this morning. I was like, it's crazy if you're in the health movements, people eat so healthy, and then people look up to athletes as a representation of what's healthy. But they're some of the worst eaters that I know. Like
Yes.
they'll burgers, fries, chips. Or just like, just get me calories, get me some salt in so I can train harder.
Yeah.
And I just thought like it's so funny that people look to athletes as like a form of health. And like, yeah, some of them are eating healthy for the most part, but there's definitely no limitation on like cookies or cake or pizza
Yeah.
or whatever, for sure. They're just,
Or
they're
all that stuff they buy at the, you know, the energy boost stuff and
the gels and stuff. Yeah.
well, yeah, and the powders to the pre-workout. And I mean, if you look at the list of ingredients, it's just because my son does that. My daughter does to some point. She's a little healthier than he is. He lives on meat, but it's just awful. I
Uh,
mean,
Pre-workouts are, hey, coffee is my pre-workout because when I used to take them when I was younger, a dosage of caffeine was maybe 100 milligrams. Maybe if you had 150 milligrams of caffeine in a serving, like you were wild.
mm-hmm,
Nowadays, it's 300,
yeah,
400 milligrams per serving in
yeah.
one go, drink in like 5 minutes. That's a crazy amount of caffeine to have in one take.
Yeah, yeah. It scares me. It worries me for both my kids because, and my son just sweats like a pig when he eats. So he's got way too much something in him. But,
Yeah.
but oh, you just said something that made me think of something I was going to say, but now I can't remember what. Oh,
Oh,
caffeine. That's the other
yeah.
thing I gave up with this program.
Yeah.
So I don't have caffeine. And I remember when I first went on the whole food plant-based lifestyle, I did drink coffee. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I had so much energy. I attributed it to the good diet, which part of it was, but I think
Yeah.
it was the caffeine on top of it.
Yeah.
And now I don't have caffeine. It's all me power.
Yeah.
I don't have caffeine anymore. And it's a little, I have energy, don't get me wrong, but it's not quite the same
It's
without
not
the
superficial
coffee.
energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I haven't done my workout today because I would have already done it by now, but I wanted to get on this call with you. So now I'm thinking maybe I should go make some real coffee so I can get that workout done.
Hey, caffeine's such a personal choice because like I've done like 6 month periods with zero caffeine just to kind of reset the body a little bit and kind of have some more natural energy. And then there's a social component to it. Like I don't drink alcohol, I don't do any of those things.
Yeah.
And so to me, coffee was like, how can I say that? Like there was an exercise I did a long time ago of like, if you were a multimillionaire, how would you spend your mornings? I was like, coffee and a book.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes me feel good. And I'm like, that's just a representation of me living a good life. If I can just take my time and read in the morning and drink a good latte, I'm a happy man. And so then I reintroduce them. I just have one coffee a day, basically. So every morning I have a coffee. I read my book for maybe an hour, and then I start my day, and that makes me feel accomplished, like I'm living my best life. And so
Yeah.
I'll go periods where I cut it out, but I don't. I try not to pass one per day because then the nervous system starts to take a hit a little bit. You get anxious, fidgety a little bit, and you don't feel as
Yeah.
good.
Well, I think Gregor says coffee's okay to have one or two cups. It's not that, and I've thought about going back. My husband got off of it for his heart because he had a
Yeah,
spell. He has health issues. So he's no longer drinking caffeine. So, and he's the one that makes coffee. I use instant, which
yeah,
my telehealth doctor told me that's not so good. So I buy that Ticino, which is I don't know what all it has in it. It also has a few calories.
yeah,
Anyway, not I've kind of thought about going because if you asked me 7 years ago, 6 years ago, whatever, and asked me what my favorite part of the day was, I would have told you my morning coffee. That was my
yeah,
favorite time of the day. I loved my morning coffee.
yeah,
So I feel like I've given up a lot. I'm really alone in this in my community. None of my friends. I mean, they all think they ask me questions sometimes, but I know that they think I'm nuts. So I miss out on
hey, we've all
social.
been there.
Yeah, right. I know. And as meeting all these people, it's everybody's in the same boat. But
Yeah,
you know, I don't drink now. So, and my husband had to give that up too. So socially, we're just like, we don't fit in anymore. And I don't go to coffee. I don't, you know, so, but anyway, I feel like maybe I should go back to having one cup of coffee a day. I don't think it's going to hurt me.
Even a decaf. Like
Well, I
again, it's
do
still
do
not as good
decaf.
as
I do
oh
decaf, but I not on a regular basis. I probably have it 2 or 3 times a week. And then I use some
yeah.
other things, but it's not the same. It
Yeah.
just, you know, I
If you do
think
a
the
decaf
buzz of the
latte,
coffee.
yeah, that's different for sure from a
Yeah,
decaf to full caffeinated.
right.
Yeah, it's the thing with like, caffeine, alcohol, salt, sugar, processed food, and all of these things. Like you, I think it's silly to set hard rules for all these things. You get to choose. Like no one's ever the only person that I know that is probably the most optimized and perfect with no caffeine, no alcohol, zero processed food, any of that stuff is a guy named Brian Johnson who's spending $2 million a year to reverse his aging. Probably the only guy on planet Earth that is like actually perfect with everything, that sleeps nine
I'm
hours a night, does
close.
everything. And he is like on another level. And
Yeah,
everyone else, it's like it's a choice. Like, is caffeine the best for you? Some say yes, some say no. Shit, if drinking coffee no longer makes you happy, drink coffee.
yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
for 100% whole food plant based. I'm for 90%. The other 10%, date night, anniversary, you're traveling, enjoy the local food, go on a date, order something that you guys can enjoy yourself with. Like I'm for that balance because when you're so far on one side, what ends up happening is some people can sustain it for months, some people for years, some people for decades. But at one point, there's always a moment of like, I want to live a little bit. And then they swing on the other side and then they go wild. And
that's my
so,
fear though.
yeah,
That's my fear because I'm an abstainer. It's an all or nothing. I mean, I'm not a
yeah,
moderator. I can't have a bite of a cookie. So afraid to go out and have a meal that's not because I mean, that's why we don't go out. Or I go out every Tuesday with my husband and another couple, and I don't
yeah,
eat because it's a bar and they have bar
yeah,
food and there's nothing there from, well, they do have, they call it the big ass potato. So it's a
yeah,
baked potato and I could order it, but I get it with maybe some, if they have them, tomato and onion on it, but not the meat and the cheese and all the other stuff. And I don't want
yeah,
to pay $8 for it. So I'm like,
yeah. Well,
I'm like, I just don't eat. So
yeah,
I worry too. And I don't think I'd probably have a problem. I think it's mostly the sugar, as I had to get off sugar for my arthritis. And
yeah. You have
and
a health reason too, which is different,
yes.
you know?
Yeah, and I wouldn't be playing at 50. I couldn't go up and down my basement steps in the morning because my feet hurt so
Mhm.
bad. You
Yeah,
know, 20 years later, I'm playing 2 or 3 hours of pickleball with no pain. So
yeah,
I don't want to I don't want to, because I have gotten back on sugar, not in the past 6 years, but I went on South Beast diet, got off sugar and flour, felt so much better, but then the sugar crept back in, you know. So now I'm like, I am so petrified. I had some cough drops last week for this cold, and I had a couple of them. And then I finally looked at the ingredients, and I'm like, oh, I can't take these, you know, because I'm
yeah.
so afraid
Well,
of going back to sugar.
let let me share this. I think like you're in great hands with Coach Cask. That's what she does is like relationship with food along with Sarah. But I think for the majority of the people that we work with in the program, it's the number one skill. If we can get you and everyone else to get to that place, it's learning to live in the gray. So not be all out or nothing type deal. Like I'm not eating sugar, I'm eating all the sugar. Like if we can learn to live in that gray zone, which is scary because it'll force you to pass the line where you're not all in and then trust that you will like that we will be there to help you, but that you will be able to have the inner strength and discipline to not be all nothing, right? And like, yeah, you might try to cross that line to learn to live in the gray and go here for a bit and be like, oh shit, I don't feel that great. You need to experience that to a certain extent to be like, I feel like crap. I don't want to feel like crap. Okay, let's just go back a little bit. And over time, you learn to live in the gray. just from, we've coached 1,000+ people at this point. I get
Yeah.
it. It's scary. I've been there too. I
Because
went
I've
from,
been over there and it took me 3 years to get back.
yeah,
And
but I think in terms of enjoyment of food and life and some of those experiences, once you learn to live in the gray, there's so much peace. There's not that little voice in the back of your head that's like, oh shit, there's sugar here. I shouldn't get close to it. I should, um, like once you learn to live in the gray, like I think for you, that's the number one thing you should focus on while you're doing your strength training and nutrition is just learning to live in the gray. Because if you do that, the fear of food will go away, will dissipate. Enjoyment of food, of social events will come up, because yeah, usually what happens to people on one side of the spectrum is eventually there's an event that triggers them and then they go all out on the other side. And it's a unwilling moment. It is not a controlled moment. So if you're consciously trying to be in the gray, that's different than like I slipped up, I messed up, let me go fully in the other side, and now you're not in control anymore because you didn't choose to do this versus choosing to start to dip in the gray zone. That's different because you have more control because you're willingly doing it and you're kind of cautious. You're like, okay, we're gonna go and try this now. But yeah, Coach Cass knows how to do that and work on that with you. But all of that is for sure it's psychological. It's not meal plan, right? It's not like you'll have this special meal in your meal plan that will trigger this in your brain for you to be able to live in the gray, right? It's going to be a psychological process. And yes, it'll be challenging, well, that's just buying you food freedom, basically, and just peace of mind around nutrition. Like that's what most people need that struggle with weight loss
yeah,
is that component. It's not the workout in the meal plan. Like shit, give you like if you like I said before, you hold the plan, it's not gonna transform your body, right? It's like how
right.
can we stay consistent with it as much as possible? Again, not perfection, but as much as possible while being able to live life because most people will do this extreme. Yeah, they'll go to a center and not eat for 30 days. That's full on of an extreme side. And then they'll come back to their day to day life, but they haven't learned how to monitor their nutrition properly and they just go back to what they were doing.
Hmm.
And then they just swing between, every 6 months or every few years or decade or so. They just do this for years. So it's like that gray zone is where the magic happens.
But if you're in the gray, you're eating processed foods, you mean, and things that aren't healthy?
Not well, potentially, like whatever that looks like for you. I'm not saying to go eat processed food, but I'm saying is if it's your anniversary with your husband and you guys want to share a meal together. And in that meal, there happens to be a little bit of sugar, right? Or a little bit of salt in it. And your husband is not vegan, is not whole food plant based, is not SRS or anything. Being able to share that moment with them to me is far more valuable than eating a bit of oil or sugar,
Yeah,
you know? Because at the end of the day, when it's like your last day, it's like it's those it's those memories that are gonna come back. It's not like, hey, I didn't touch processed food for the past 20 years.
yeah.
At that point, it doesn't matter anymore. So it's like it's those memories. And
So I
again,
should
maybe it's
eat part of his steak. I
no,
mean, I
no,
might.
not his steak, right? You can set your own boundaries. But what I'm saying is if you don't have that worry about food, it allows you to enjoy the experience in the moment with the people that you're with, right? Obviously, you have your limit. I'll never eat animal products for anyone,
Okay, so
right?
well, that's what I'm getting. That's why you're throwing me off. I was kind of thrown because I'm thinking, am I supposed to start eating, the things that I can't
No, no,
eat, like
no.
meat and cheese and
No, but for you, so I'm just bringing that up because you said sugar for
okay.
you is the main trigger,
Yes.
right?
Okay. Okay.
Sugar's vegan for the pretty much, right? So
Right, right, right.
if ever something comes up and you end up taking cough syrup with their syrup, it's not a cause to go all nothing.
Right, right.
It's just like, oh, cool, whatever happened, done. Let's just move on. I'm not gonna beat myself up for it. So that improving that relationship with sugar, I think, would be powerful because
Yeah.
we've seen it in the program. We've had people be like super consistent for like 4 months. Like they don't miss a workout. They're doing a good job. I get nervous for those people because as soon as they have one bad day, they go, oh, I messed it all up. And then they
Yeah.
miss a bunch of workouts in a row. They go off track to nutrition. I was like, you just shot yourself in the foot. And then you're like, oh my God, I hurt myself. Let me shoot myself in the other foot. It doesn't make
Yeah.
sense. You don't
Yeah.
need to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But other than the last 15 months, the prior to that, I did go off track.
Yeah.
It's only been the last
Is it off
15
track
months
though?
that I've stayed 100%. I would have I was actually eating some meat because I'm not a I becoming more so, but it wasn't ethically vegan. It was for
Yeah.
my health.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I would sneak a bite of it because I love steak, or I like meat. So I was cheating a little on that. And I think I'm sure I had a taste of dessert. I don't remember. And it didn't throw me for a loop.
Yeah,
It's only
good.
been the last 15 months that I've been 100%. But I understand what you're saying now, that you're not talking about animal
Yeah,
products.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, no. No, yeah, it's just the whole relationship with food. I think that's, to be honest, that's the majority of reasons why people struggle with their weight for the most part, right?
Oh
Like
yeah,
inactivity is,
there's definite. Yeah.
yeah, you don't have an inactivity issue. Like you're pretty
Mm-mm.
active, you're doing a lot
Right.
of things. It's for the most people, it's a relationship with food. And because they've had such a struggle with the relationship with food, they adopt a all or nothing mindset because they think like, well, I can't control myself to be in the center, so therefore it's easier, to be honest, to go all in, to like be very extreme. It's easier up until it isn't. And then you haven't strengthened that like discipline muscle of being able to be around these foods and learn to make the right decisions. And then people go all nothing.
Yeah.
So then they just go crazy with their food until they catch themselves again, and then they go all
Right.
in again. And that's, to be honest, that's what causes yo-yo dieting for a lot of people, like weight gain, weight loss, weight
Yeah.
gain, weight loss.
Have you heard of abstainers and moderators? If
No. Is
if
that
you
like a
if
book
you
or?
if you no, if you Google abstainers and moderators, it will tell you the difference. There are
Okay.
people that are abstainers and there are people that are moderators.
Yeah.
Again, it could be from life choices, and that because I'm an abstainer because I figured out I can't control myself. So, but there is, and a friend pointed it out to me because she couldn't understand why I couldn't eat a bite of a cookie or taste the cake or whatever. And this was a few years ago. And I said, I just can't. I don't quit asking me to taste it. I won't do it. So she found it. She found abstainers and moderators. She's a moderator. She can do that. I'm an abstainer. I can't. Now, not to say I can't learn to be a moderator. I'm not
I was
discounting
gonna
what you're
say.
saying,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I'm just saying that there is actually, it's on Google. You
yeah,
can
yeah,
Google abstainers and moderators and it'll come
for
up.
sure. Like if we buy chocolate, for example, Ivy can eat a square and leave the whole bar there, right? To me, like I'll probably eat the whole bar,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I won't feel bad about it. I'll be like, I may fit my calories for the day, and I'm fine with it. Um, but yeah, I have the belief that you can get your brain to do anything if you train it enough. And
Mm-hmm.
so, like, you could be, yeah, a moderate and abstainer, but you can definitely like swing on both spectrum if you train yourself too. Um, but yeah, like for sure, Ivy's more of a moderator. I'm just like, yeah, I'll just eat the whole bar, but I'll make it fit within my metrics for the day, and then just be like, all right, cool, done, whatever,
Yeah.
I ate it,
Yeah.
done,
Where I
not
would
the
be
end of the world.
going, that cookie was really good. I'm going to the store to buy a whole bag. That's
Yeah,
I don't
but
think I would do that now. I
yeah,
really
yeah.
don't, but I don't trust myself, so I don't do it.
So I think that's the thing we need to work on, is for you to
Yeah.
start to learn to trust yourself again around food.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, not just for
Before
you.
I
I
die.
had to do that too.
Before I die.
Well, well,
I'm a
again,
lot
you're,
older.
yeah, yeah, but you got many years to go. You're already eating whole food, plant based. You're exercising. You look younger than your age. But it's just, I don't know. Like I have some friends that are like in their 80s and nearing their 90s, and just that enjoyment of progression never really leaves. At least for the people that I'm surrounded with.
Right.
And so if they have the ability to keep learning and keep getting better, regardless of their age, they're still
Oh
like
yeah.
finding enjoyment in that.
Yes. I've got a couple friend and they're 94 and 96. He still
Yeah,
plays pickleball. He's 96 years old.
that's impressive.
And yeah, but his knees are really bothering him now, but he always did the
Understandably.
senior Olympics. Yes, understandably. But he was very involved in the senior Olympics and he's always trying to get me to do it. He hasn't asked the last year or two, but because I don't want to do that. But anyway, so yeah, they're amazing. They're an amazing couple,
Yeah. And
but they're
again,
not
it's,
whole food plant based and they
yeah.
drink. I mean, so they
Well,
just have good genes, but they also exercise. They both are active.
yeah. There's exceptions everywhere, right?
Oh
There's
yeah.
people that will smoke till 100, never get lung cancer, and there's people that will never smoke and get lung cancer.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
want to do the best we can, to put the chances on our side, regardless of what our genetics are
Yeah.
saying, right? Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. My grandparents, I had one lived to 98 and one to 99 on either side of my family, but both my parents, my dad was had a stroke at 59 because he smoked and drank, which his parents did not,
yeah,
and major stroke. And he died at 79. And my mom, she had all her joints replaced, both shoulders, both knees, from arthritis. And so and she passed away at 86, which she had, she lived fairly long, but um, yeah, I just am trying to avoid all those aches and pains and heart
yeah.
issues.
You
So
you're on the right path. You're doing the
yeah,
right thing, right? Like in
yeah,
terms of like in terms of actions, you're doing phenomenal, right? You're being active, you're strength training, you're strengthening your bones, you're building muscle, you're eating whole food plant based, you're doing all of these things. I'm just trying to throw a little bit in there of like, let's not forget to like enjoy being fit
hmm
and healthy along the way,
yeah.
because
But I
that's
do,
the
and my
beautiful
friends
part.
ask me that. They'll say, just have some, just enjoy life. And I'm like, I am enjoying life.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be enjoying it if I was in pain. So, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I'm enjoying it. I don't feel like I'm missing out.
yeah. Let me
Um,
reword it then. Not
okay.
to enjoyment, but like to not be as worried about food.
Yes, that would be true.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Because for sure, yeah, if your body is in pain, you're not enjoying it. So you
Right.
being able to move the way that you do, yeah, 100% you get enjoyment of life. But yeah, to not be as worried about food. Like,
Yes, not to be constantly thinking about it.
yeah, like how good would it feel for that little voice to go away?
Yeah. Well, then it would be lunchtime and I wouldn't have anything to eat. So I wouldn't have any meals prepared.
Yeah, you'd find a way. You'd find a way.
Well, I
Awesome.
would because like last night for supper, I completely for the first time in the 2.5 weeks I've been on this, I didn't eat a planned meal. I just ate a potato and broccoli and some lentils, and I was happy. So
Good.
yeah, um, that was okay. I don't know if I hit any protein or calorie. I don't know if I did anything, but I ate dinner and didn't eat afterwards. And no, I did. I ate a carrot afterwards and went to bed
That's
happy.
fine.
So yeah,
Yeah. We'll never be upset at you eating more vegetables.
good because I still have a freezer. My freezers are so full. There's two of us here, and we have two full size huge refrigerators and a huge freezer, and they're all full. It's
Yeah.
like because
What was
because
that from
it's
when you
food.
had
My
kids?
pantry's full of all the. I mean, I have so many packages of lentils and rice and beans. I've got so much food here because I'm a little bit of a food hoarder, apparently.
Yeah. Well, again, you guys had kids as well. Like my mom, they have two fridges, they have a massive shelf of everything. And it's just my mom and my dad living together now. Like all of
Yeah,
us are gone from the house and they still have a lot of food. I
yeah.
think it's just a habit of like storing because they had to feed so
I
many of us.
guess. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I think it's me more because wait. Well, I freeze some foods. I mean, I pick my own blueberries and fill half my freezer with blueberries every year and
Yeah.
corn and we buy peaches and strawberries off the truck and freeze those. So we do get a lot of that, but
Yeah.
I got to eat what's there before I keep buying more.
Yeah.
And now I
Well,
have edamame. My freezer's full of edamame now.
yeah. And again, everyone's on their unique own little journey of what they need to like work on and enjoy, and everyone has their strengths and the things that need to be improved, and that's that's life. So
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
on the right path. You're
I
willingly
I'm
taking it
5 pounds
on.
away from high school weight. My sophomore in high school. It was on my license, so I know what I weighed when I was
That's
sophomore in high
amazing.
school. But so I've got, but it's certainly not proportioned the same way, which I
But
don't expect it to be.
yeah, we'll continue working on the proportions.
Yeah,
But
it's this
yeah, for
jelly
sure.
roll, my jelly roll on my gut that I still can't get rid of. And I mean, I'm tight. I have good core muscles. I can feel them, but
Yeah,
I
just
don't like this. I hit 70 and all of a sudden I had this. I'm like, what happened?
yeah. Well, it'll go down. Like we have a few. It's on a podcast somewhere, but yeah, we've had a few members in their 70s. Like you can get rid of it So again, as you know, the only thing is like as you get older, the elasticity in the skin doesn't catch up as the
Yes.
same as when you were, in your 20s.
Right.
So there might be a little bit more loose skin from it, but at least there's not going to be like stored fat in
Stored
there, which
fat.
is the thing that increasing the risk of all these chronic illnesses. So
Right.
you'll
Right.
be able, it's hard to say like tighten up because the skin won't for the most
Right.
part compared to before,
Yeah.
but
I
you'll be
mean,
able to like shrink it a lot.
got all that crepey skin. I hate it
Yeah.
because I like the sun.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Again, that's a choice. I like the sun
Yeah.
too. It's fine. I'm gonna look. I'm gonna look probably like 45 in a few years, and I'm far away from it. So
Yeah.
just because I'm a white boy, I'm gonna look old so fast, and Ivy's
Yeah.
gonna look young forever because she got Asian genes, and so
Yeah. Well, she
it's
probably protects herself from the sun.
yeah, she does, but she likes to go in the sun for sure.
Yeah.
We when we went on the cruise because she's half Filipino and half Chinese. Like when we went on the cruise, she got dark so fast. I was like, God damn. We have photos of all they're on Instagram, but I can show them in the group. But like we have photos of all of us together,
Uh-huh.
and I'm just shirtless in the back flexing, and there's everyone there. I look like a ghost. I am
Yeah.
so pale compared to everyone else. And people took photos of it and then
I
sent it
saw
to me.
the
It's like,
picture.
yeah, it's like I
Yeah.
can tell that you like work indoors
Yeah.
basically because you're pale. Yeah,
Yeah, I've already had people ask me, "Where'd you go this summer? You're so tan." And I said, "Well, I sat out on my deck and I went for walks. I haven't been anywhere. It's just I
yeah,
tan easily and I love the sun. I mean, I sit out in the winter with a blanket and a coat. I sit
yeah,
out in the sun. I love the feel of the heat on my face. So,
yeah.
but I've
You
aged.
got maybe.
My skin, I mean, I look my age because of it.
Yeah, you don't
But
look your age.
well, you're not you can't see the wrinkles on here.
No,
Compared to,
but I have your photos on the app,
oh,
right?
you're
From
not looking at those
uh,
pictures, are
yeah,
you?
I see everything. I see
Oh,
everything.
those
No,
are
but it's
awful. I thought only Cass was going to see those. I didn't even
well,
want my husband to see me in a swimsuit. I said, "Oh my God,
yeah.
I have to take this picture."
So it's only so I have access to everything. Obviously, 'cause I'm like the owner of everything, but
I
only
know.
your coach sees it. So no one else sees it besides your coach because it's great for like to see progression. And
Yeah,
sometimes like I'll just be on my computer and I'll be like, I wonder how Judy's going, and I'll go and I'll look at someone's profile. I wonder how Patrick is going, and I'll go and I'll look at someone's profile just to make sure everything stays on
everything's
track with
gone.
everyone.
Well,
Yeah,
I told Cass that I don't think I'm measuring in the same place each time, because it kind of, it goes up and down and in places that if it really shouldn't be going up. So I don't think I don't know exactly where to measure the waist and exactly to where, and I'm doing
yeah,
my own arm and so it's
yeah. I would
hard.
say you can ask your husband to help you
I
to
could
like
ask
measure.
him. I just haven't.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
won't
It
be
makes
here
it easier.
this weekend, but yeah, it would be. It would
Yeah.
be. But I don't know exactly. And the chest, I don't really know where to do those measurements.
Yeah, yeah. So there's at the beginning there's you should have gotten instructions that kind of standardize it for it. But yeah, basically the bicep should just be mid arm. You can do it like just to standardize it, put it belly button. So every time just put in belly button,
Oh,
measure at the
at the
same
belly
time.
button?
Yeah, you can put
Oh,
at the
I
belly
thought it was
button.
high. I figured it was an inch or two higher than, kind of where I would. It's not as big.
Well, again, regardless of where you do it, as long as it's the same, because if it goes down, it goes down, right? So you'll be able to tell
Yeah.
the difference. It's just don't do like belly button one time and then an inch,
Right,
the
right.
other
I
time.
know. But that's what
Yeah,
makes it hard. It would have been easier if I had just done belly button. Then I'd know. But I
yeah, yeah,
didn't.
yeah.
So,
It's okay. We're still again, you're still on your journey, so you can just
yeah,
take your measurements the next time and then go from there, basically.
that's true. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
awesome. Well, I have to run. I have to go to the gym.
Okay.
I gotta do my workout this
I have to
morning, and
do
then
my workout too. So,
awesome. Well, yeah, enjoy your workout, Judy. I appreciate you jumping on, and
yeah, I hope that people don't, I mean, they're gonna, if anybody, they'd be bored listening to this because it's just me, but
no, no, great
I forget
conversation.
that there's another thing I want to talk about. And then I remembered you were recording it and I'm like, no, I'm not going to ask.
Yeah, keep it for a group call with all the members.
No,
Yeah.
no, I don't want
Oh,
anybody. I need to, I'll ask my
okay.
telehealth doctor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well,
Yeah.
then I'll see you tomorrow on the live training with Dr.
Yes.
Matthew Nagra.
That's the plan. I have a funeral to go to and I'm hoping I'll be home in time. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, Judy,
Okay.
I will see you
Well, thank
tomorrow, and
you.
I appreciate you jumping on.
Thank you. It was great coffee, but I didn't have time to make mine. I forgot.
I drank all mine. We're good to
All
go.
right.
Awesome.
Thank you,
All right.
Maxim.
Bye, Judy.
Bye-bye. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too. And for everyone listening, thank you very much for jumping on this Coffee with Maxim. We'll be doing those every few weeks or so. I announce all of them on the newsletter. So there's a link down below in the description where you can sign up for it for the free newsletter. And then I'll put the dates and the time basically. And then you can jump on with Judy and like all the other ones we've done in the past. And so we'll see everyone next week.